right after saying we gotta
I
look
thought you were just
professional.
starting a new trend. Like, here, we're going to put all our ties sideways. Like, I don't know if it was a Lebanese thing or it's like, this is how
Yeah.
we wear them in our country.
It's like Jimmy Kimmel, the Lebanese Jimmy Kimmel right here. Like
Yeah,
this
he's
was
got that down.
sideways.
I'm here with my wake up hair, like just got out of bed hair kind of thing, and yeah,
Well,
it's like a
luckily, I
contrast.
also have my just that fresh out of bed hair. So, and my freshly groomed hair and my middle of the day, 5 o'clock shadow hair. It's all the same. It's basically the same.
all in one, all in one,
All
yeah.
in one.
That's like
Do you have to use
go for it, Ali.
2-in-1 Head and Shoulder shampoo or no?
Who, me? Oh, it's straight Axe body wash.
Oh, just the body wash. So just the 1-in-1. Yeah, you don't need
Yeah.
shampoo or conditioner.
Or Dove. Dove. If I'm feeling fancy and I got a couple extra bucks at the Stop and Shop, I'll pick me up some Dove skincare.
Okay, cool.
I got that
That's
sensitive
good.
skin.
That's good. Take
Do
care of
you
that
do
sensitive
you use
skin.
the loofah on top or do you use just your hand on top?
Just my
Like,
hand.
What do you
Yep,
use to
go
scrub?
right between the two hands and then right into the face and then scrub it right in behind that. Like you got to get right in there, right where the rubber meets the road, right there behind the earlobe. Like there's like
Yeah.
3 critical places where you got to like you could get away with just scrubbing like 3 places and brushing your teeth and you'd be good. Like right behind the ears, in the pits, right where where the legs meet the groin. Like if you get those 3 spots, you're pretty much good. That's like the 3 worst spots. If that's all you have to do, you should be good. But if you're like, I'm in a hurry, just hit those 3 spots with the body wash and then just squeeze the loofah over you and let it run down, rinse off, you're good. That's a good, quick, on the run wash hack tip.
Just
Is
like
that what we're
elaborating
doing
that.
hack tips, right? It's like we're just going to talk about how to secrets to living life as a degenerate and not letting people find out.
Just giving us a mental image of how exactly how men shower, basically.
Yeah.
That's good to know. That's good to know. Thank you, Deadair Dennis.
I like how Ali is like judging us. Meanwhile, 10 seconds ago, he was trying to put on a tie like a 6-year-old from his dad's closet for the first time, not knowing how to do it. So,
Hey, you're Dennis Deadair Maler, right? Seriously,
yes.
dude. When you're on stage, even the mic wants to go on mute,
Yeah.
Even the mic doesn't want to work when you're on stage. Let's be real.
Oh, the best part about my comedy routine is the silence, and the best part about every movie I've ever been featured in is that my best side is the side behind the camera. So I'm fully aware that all my best work has been left on the cutting room floor of every editing room.
I was just about to mention that. I was gonna ask, like, is it a lot of the stuff getting cut off? But what was your favorite scene then to act out? Which didn't make
My
it
favorite thing
to
about
live.
doing acting is watching the casting director's face just fall into regret after they see me come to set. That's basically. No, I've never, dude. All right, I'll tell you about this. Have you guys ever seen the Netflix movie called Eve? Stars Jessica Chastain, Colin Farrell's in it. It's like a bunch of like John Malkovich is in it. Yeah, it's a good.
Okay,
There's a reason why
what
you
a
haven't
great
heard it
cast.
because it sucks. It's terrible. It's
Mhm.
awful. Like the movie was originally called Ava, and then it was so bad that they changed the name of the movie because it was so bad. But the only thing they could change it to without having to redo all the dialogue was a word that sounded like just the lip movement looked like Ava, so they changed the name of the movie to Eve for whatever reason.
Interesting.
Yeah, I did I'm again can't see me in the movie, but you can see my car. My car has a very prominent featured spot at the airport, which is just an airport in Worcester, Massachusetts, that they did an overhead shot of somebody getting into a cab. Yeah, that project was doomed from the start. It was originally. I'm not going to name names because not because I don't like to talk trash. I love talking trash. I just don't remember their names. So, but the I mean, you can Google this, like Ava, Jessica Chastain director, and you'll find out that one of the directors got Me Too'd, so they had to rip him like right out off set as production started. It was just a toxic work environment. Like I remember doing one scene and just watching a PA pull his IFB out of his ear because they were shouting on the radios at each other. The crew was shouting and yelling at everybody so much that it was nonstop fighting between the crew, like directors, producers. And just I'm not
Yeah.
sure who was arguing, fighting all the time, but nonstop. Every time I was on set, I could just hear them on the radios pulling their earpiece out, just like, please stop yelling at the top of your lungs.
Jeez.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
movie was
that's not
awful.
very nice.
What were they
You-
fighting
so-
about, though? What were they even
Just
fighting
dumb
about?
stuff. Like it was just the director they replaced with was apparently not as good of a director as they wanted. I don't know, just that like there from top down there was so much fighting, which is weird because usually on film sets, everyone in my experience, I'm not going to talk about everyone's experience, but in my experience, TV and movie sets that I've been on have all been for the most part great environments. Everybody knows each other.
Yeah.
They like working with each other. They get along. Like in the New England area where I live, there's a lot of productions, and it's a small group of people that work in the industry. So everyone kind of knows everybody. They're all friends with each other. I mean, there's drama here and there. You know, it's like, oh, can you believe so and so got so drunk at the party, whatever. You know, that dumb shit. But
Gotcha.
mostly everyone kind of likes each other and gets along. And then you
Mhm.
kind of introduce like somebody from, I'm not going to say it's definitely somebody from LA, but you introduce people from outside the region there. And
Yeah.
the first real production I did was a movie called The Equalizer 2. It was the
Gotcha.
yeah, which by the way they totally missed. It was Denzel Washington. They totally missed the boat by not calling the second movie The Sequelizer.
Oh, that's so good. No,
then-
that's pretty good.
And now they've made a third movie and missed the boat again without calling it the thirdalizer. Like they missed the boat. But anyway, or make it a
Yes.
prequel, the prequelizer. Like there's so much there left.
I can't believe you were in that movie. Wait,
Don't worry. I'm in a building across the street while they're filming. Like it's
dead air. Wait, I need to sneeze. I need to sneeze. I'm a bit cold. Okay. Okay. Good. Moving on.
all right. Listen, pause for editing.
Pause for editing.
One of the things that they do on the set is like I work background, like that's fine by me, but they don't call like I've never been on a film set where they call anyone extras anymore. Like they've eliminated the word extra on set. They're like
They call
no
them AI.
yeah, they're here. They're your background actors. Like they treat everybody super nice, and they're very big about not like demeaning people for their roles and stuff. And it's like weird to be on that. Was like okay, like you can't say extra. All right, we'll say background performer. Like they're so down to the tiniest little thing. Like I've been treated on set very well by every person I've ever met, from multi-million-dollar superstar to PAs who are working for credit, you know. But meanwhile, I've worked in corporate AV, you know, because you got to have a day job when you're a performer, you know. And I'm setting up projectors and dumb shit for corporate entities that's doing their biannual get together to talk about how much money they made this quarter or whatever. And you got some secretary from Bain Capital that just screams and hollers at you because the projector got tilted 3 degrees to the left, as if this before the event, and as if this makes any difference to anyone who's coming to think. So it's like corporate AV in that world are the meanest pieces, biggest piece. I've never been talked down to as much as by just some douchebag middle management jerk off at a corporate event inside of a 10x10 conference room.
And why do you think that is? Is it because they wanted to all be like Christopher Nolan, but then they ended up somewhere in between down the line, getting washed up, having to, you know, do an AV job, and then they start getting bitter and then start taking it out on other people?
Like, but it's the clients that talk to people that way. You know, I think what it is it's commonplace in corporate America to treat underlings like garbage. I mean, look at it. Like it's how many times have we said like, oh, if you can't handle it, if you can't handle being dressed down, then you're too sensitive. And it's just we've taken that kind of attitude, like that's the American corporate workplace where it's like what's that you know, coffee is for closers bullshit, like that fucking movie, you know, Glenn Ross, where you got the
wow,
you know, Alex Bang Gang Baldwin shouting out at somebody, not letting them drink any water because water is for closers or whatever the dumb line is from that. And Wall Street, where everyone's like, you're getting screamed and constantly yelled at by your boss. And we accept that as common workplace environment. Whereas in the arts industry, you know, we're getting to the point where it's like, hey, we're people and, you know, we're all
yeah,
in this
for sure.
and we have to, we're also all, most of us are on medication anyway to make us docile
Yes,
human beings.
there you go.
Our brains don't stop running intrusive thoughts all the time. So now we're all medicated enough on Prozac and Zoloft to where we're like, let's go along, let's all have fun and make a movie, you guys.
Yes, exactly. Hey, Deadair, wait. So I think this is an issue of the generations between you and me, because maybe the generation previous to us might have taken more of that bullshit. But let's say nowadays, all right, Sai, pretend you're my boss and yell at me. Pretend you're my boss and yell at me. Like, try to humiliate me as a boss.
Yeah, well, basically, I'm like, I'm gonna like when I've managed people, I do the old like, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. Like, I'm trying to devastate you from the inside now. Like, I'm playing the mind games. All right, I'm not shouting and raising my voice anymore at you and calling you names. I'm making you feel bad about yourself internally to try and motivate you. Now, granted, I am Gen X. So I grew up in the restaurant industry too, and,
Yes.
I'm a Gen Xer. So, we've said, I've been a part of saying terrible, horrible, awful things to your coworkers, and then you go out and you drink a beer, and at the end of the night, and it's gone and over with. But also, I'm at the age where it's like, can we just skip being awful part and just go to the having fun and beers part? Like,
yes, I agree. Now try that with me. I'm Gen Z. All right, try to humiliate me. Try to say something to make me upset.
I think we
You're
already
my
did
boss.
earlier with the
Okay.
inability to tie your own tie. Like, I feel
Okay,
like
see, guess
you've already
what?
pissed me down enough times.
I need the
the
mental
last
health
thing I need
leave.
is a guy on a podcast. The last thing I need to do is make another guy on a podcast cry. I don't want to start getting typecasted.
I need the mental health leave, okay? I need the mental health leave. I saw on TikTok that you can just ask for mental health leave, so I'm taking that. Peace. I'm going to go watch TikTok.
Saeed, you're now in charge. You got to do the... because of the mental health necessary craze, mental health vacation. So you now have to do the... You got to pick up the slack for your mentally ill, incapable, incompetent.
Wait. So,
by the way,
to be honest, I've lost track at some point. Like, there has been so much, so much to process. Like, that is nonstop, but I'm just like, I'm trying to absorb what's going on.
I don't like this. This is bullying on my podcast.
Show before we started recording, the nickname Dead Air is an ironic nickname because I
see it.
I need a mental health leave. I need a mental health leave.
And I have to pick up your slack now. I have to pick up his slack. Where are you going? Hey, put the headphones back on, man.
Not only do you
actually
left. You get what we need you to do is, you need to spruce up that backdrop a little bit. Like, I'm on remote. Like, I'm in Baltimore visiting my family, and I brought my mobile gear, so I've got like a blank wall. But I got a little splash of color here. I saw you could be like Ali, maybe put in a little plant there. It doesn't have to be real. Not going to make you try and like alive against your will. But, maybe put in maybe a little lamp behind you or something.
I like my neutrality. It shows the solidarity with peace and tranquility.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
That's a big word, right there.
That is a big word, Ali. Yes, that is the word I'm sticking with.
Wow.
I'm going to stay with tranquility for 400, Alex.
All right. So, Deadair, you're from Baltimore, but also from Boston. But which one do you like more?
Which do I like more? Baltimore, 100%. I was born and raised here in Baltimore, which I'm staying at for the holidays, and I'm wintering in Baltimore, which means I get slightly less snow than Boston. But yeah, I moved to Boston. February will be 11 years. February 2024 will be 11 years I moved to Boston. So I guess I'm officially, since I've been gone more than 10 years, I'm an official Baltimore expat. I think that's the definition, 10 years.
Okay. Ex-Patrick.
Yeah,
that's
why I like Baltimore more is in Baltimore, they're not afraid of people of color like in Boston. So
interesting.
Yeah.
You think it's the other way around, right? Because Boston's supposed to be super liberal and futuristic.
Oh yeah,
and
it's the most, it's the progressive city. They want you to remember that we were the first colony we were the first U.S. state to abolish slavery. But
it's true.
They were the first colony in the states to legalize it. So there's a little contradiction there, a little bit,
Paying back for their sins. That's what they're doing. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, I never realized how segregated it was.
Mm-hmm.
until my friends came to visit me from Baltimore and from DC, because we live in such Baltimore, DC are such diverse cities. Like, you're just jam packed with people of all ethnicities because they're both port cities. The politics. It's sometimes, if you're moving to DC, it's easier and cheaper to live in the Baltimore area and travel to DC than it is to live in DC. And just both cities really are just such big, huge melting pots of all kinds of ethnicity that you don't realize how diverse your life is until you go somewhere where it's lacking diversity. Like, a cousin of mine came up, the first thing out of his mouth, he visited me, he goes, dude, where have you been hiding the black people? I've been here for 3 days and I haven't seen one.
Wow.
Like, I've heard it from other friends too, like white friends and friends of color, where they come up and they're like, yeah, there's a lot of white people. And it's true. You could just hang around in Boston for a week and never see a person of color, as long as you stay away from the subway. Like,
you think it's because they're covered in snow? Maybe that's the reason why.
Right, yeah, everyone's walking around going in face and like, oh, there's a white guy. No, he's from Ethiopia. He's just covered. Or he's a PU college kid and probably covered in cocaine. One or the other.
There you go. That's so funny.
It's just like Boston's. They try to be an ally, but I find it personally just to be very patronizing. That's what just bothers me. It's like a lot of their, when we're trying to help people, comes, in my opinion, comes off very, oh, we have to help the people of color because they can't help themselves. You know what I mean? Like did you ever see the movie Get Out? Kind of like that family. Yeah. Like, hey, we like black people, but it's like, but you like us in the wrong reasons.
I see what you're saying. They're not equal necessarily, more like an object, maybe. Which is bad. Ugh.
Yeah, and also like, but it's the way, like, I know you didn't hear the Daily Show talked about this, so I don't know how far this national news went, but Mayor of Boston, one of her interns sent out an email to all of the city council people involved in city council. It's like, hey, everybody, just remember Friday noon is going to be our elected officials of color holiday party. Be sure to bring, guess what, or this, that, whatever. And then they had to retract emails like, sorry, that was only supposed to go out to a couple of the city council people because they excluded people who are white from the people of color holiday party. So the city council held a holiday party exclusively for everyone that's not white.
How many people showed up?
Oh, well, a lot. Which is here's the weird thing too. You would think, oh, the Boston City Council is mostly white, like 2 people of color. No, it's predominantly people of color, and like 3 white people. It's like 2 white women, 1 white guy. And he's on his way out the door. As soon as the term's over, he's out. And of course, he did the most Boston thing. Boston, when they interviewed him on the news, asking him, it's like, hey, how do you feel about them doing this, excluding you from this holiday party? And just with the thickest Boston ass, like, you don't want to invite me to your fucking party? I ain't gonna go to your party. I don't fucking care. I'm out here in 2 weeks anyway. Have fun at your fucking party without me. I'll have my own party. And so the mayor, who is, by the way, the first person of color to be elected the mayor of Boston, which 2023, how is that possible? Like, she's the current mayor of Boston, Mayor Michelle Wu, is the first woman to be elected mayor of Boston. She's the first person of color to be elected mayor, and she's the very first Taiwanese American to be. Mayor Michelle Wu is currently the first anything that's not a white guy with a gin blossom nose to be elected the mayor of Boston. And so what does she do? She holds a holiday party for people of color, excludes the whites. And then when they interview about her, I love this response. They interview, like, hey, isn't this kind of messed up? It's like, look, everyone in their office accidentally sends out a reply all email to everybody. I don't see what the big deal is. Like, Michelle, you missed the point of what they were asking.
Okay, so we have Boston. That one's a bit of a racist place. Baltimore, less of a racist place.
Most of New England is the South with just a different accent to me.
Interesting, because you think those guys were the heroes, right? Like they're like New England.
Well, I mean, when you come to like New Hampshire, their state motto is "Live free or go fuck yourself." Basically, like their state motto is "Live free or die." Like, and then you have like I'm gonna have to quote my friend Hayden Seavey, who's a comedian. He has this brilliant joke. He's a comedian born and raised in Maine. He was a guest on my podcast called So What Do You Really Do? And we talked about the time when he was a professional skier. But he was talking about growing up in Maine and listening to people who are racist in Maine when they've never interacted with people of color. Like, his joke is Hey, you know what the problem is with Mexican goes, no, I don't, and neither do you, unless you're going to say they're invisible, because neither of us have ever met one.
Wow. You've gone that long without meeting a Mexican. That's impressive, dude.
Well, it is the farthest from the border. So, and also, like, in their defense, there's not much in Maine to go up to. Like,
exactly. Hey,
I'm not going to stereotype on it, but I'm going to assume a lot of South American and Central American immigrants into this country don't care for skiing and Patagonia vests. I don't know. I'm just going to like, they'd rather have, like, I don't know, a Ford F-150 and not, I don't know, a Subaru Outback.
Okay. So wait, let's be real here. So Baltimore, I don't know anything about Baltimore. I was actually born in Baltimore, but that's all I know about it. I have an aunt that lives there, so I got to be born there.
Yeah.
Anyways,
it's
so what is about it? What's the deal?
City. Like, it's there's a lot of
how come there's no movies from Baltimore?
Let's be real. Tons. Hairspray.
I don't know. I can really? Yeah, but isn't that from the 80s?
There was one in the 90s, and then they redid it as a
the same movie.
And then they made a theatrical version of the Broadway musical. You have Avalon, Barry Levinson, Diner, also by Barry Levinson. I want to say those names are correct. There's a bunch of TV shows. Obviously, The Wire is probably the biggest.
Right, The Wire for sure. Yeah, exactly.
The new HBO show, which is based on true events here, called We Run This City. They did a lot of filming here. Also, like, because of tax credits back in the days. Remember, it's not the fourth Die Hard movie, the one with Justin Long and Bruce Willis.
No, I don't remember that one.
Look, I'm not going to defend the movie. All right. I mean, it's got Timothy Olyphant, so it's worth that for ad. Oh, and
cool.
Not Brie Larson. I always get them two mixed up. She was also in Scott Pilgrim. She was Ramona Flowers. Mary Elizabeth Winstead. So it's,
right, exactly.
The fourth Die Hard movie, I'm going to say the fourth one is called A Good Day to Die Hard. That's either the fourth or fifth one. Like, I mean, they really went off the rails with
Die Hard, Too Furious. Yeah, exactly.
All right. Is the one in Russia, though?
As long as Timothy Olyphant and Mary Elizabeth Winstead. So a lot of that movie is filmed here in Baltimore. Oh, Kevin Smith's in it. In fact, they even take place here in Baltimore. They did a lot of filming in Baltimore for that. There's a movie filmed here in Baltimore. You can see the back of my ear in, called The Brooklyn Brothers Beat the Best. That's classic, right?
Brooklyn, which is in New York City. All right, let's talk about Boston movies. You got Ted, right? You got anything with Mark Wahlberg. You know what I mean? You got all the Good Will Hunting. You know what I mean? You got so much movies and culture coming out of Boston. Like Boston, you know.
I mean, even prior, before the tax credits, you got Spencer for Hire, which then Mark Wahlberg redid the movie version of it, called Spencer Confidential, and then WGBH up there, which is not NPR, that's radio. What do you call it? Like a community television station. WGBH was very intricate throughout the 70s, 80s, and 90s for public broadcasting. So there's a lot of public broadcasting shows that started and were developed up there in New England, which is one of the reasons why I moved from Baltimore to New England. I wanted to be in a city that had more industry than this area. Oh, also was filmed here in Baltimore was you know what? I shouldn't bring up Kevin Spacey shows. That's that's a bad idea that I just realized. Yeah.
He's on Epstein's list. Yes, that's for sure.
Did they really? Was he on the official list?
Yes. Yes.
Now I'm just picturing like a beach day between Kevin Spacey and
Stephen Hawking
riding around on the beach together.
So bad. It's so true, though. I can't believe it. Okay, so wow, 2024, here we are. Let's talk about 2023. What was your favorite highlights of 2023? Let's reflect on it a bit. Let's talk about some movies, too. What's your favorite movies of the 2023 season?
Favorite movies of 2023. Here's the weird thing. I listen regularly to a podcast called Doug Loves Movies, which is hosted by Doug Benson, because I am a big movie buff. And his question today was best movie of 2023 for today's episode. And I was like, I don't know if I can name any movies from 2023. Like, I definitely saw, like, I have to go back and think, because I have terrible spatial awareness when it comes to time. Like something could either be a week or 10 years ago, and they all in my head, flat circle, all feel the same. I'm very
Jeez.
Dr. Manhattan in that.
I know a doctor that can help
like
with that.
far
For
away
sure.
or yesterday. It's all the same thing. But I will say, I'm just gonna go with the easiest one, which was the second Spider-Verse movie was probably my favorite of 2023.
Amazing.
Spider-Verse, like it was. No, I gotta take that back because you know what? Didn't have an ending. It was to be continued. And
yes, exactly.
Yeah,
and
so
another multiverse movie. What's with the multiverse?
I'm.
What is the multiverse? I'm tired of this multiverse.
So
Everyone keeps talking about the multiverse.
I love it. Two things I love: time travel and multiverse. Like, give me all of those. Like, this is not a 2023 movie, but one of my favorite time travel movies is a movie called Frequently Asked Questions About Time Travel. I love it. I even have a favorite time traveler, Kyle Reese from the Terminator series. All right, like that.
There you go.
That's my favorite. Michael Biehn going in there teaching a failed waitress who can't balance her checkbook how to be a badass with a shotgun. Hell yes, Kyle Reese, man. Michael Biehn does not get the credit for being like the most feminist action movie hero of his time. Like he taught Sarah Connor how to be a badass robot killing time traveler.
100%.
And then he also taught Ripley how to shoot a grenade launcher in Aliens.
How cool.
Like, come on, Michael B. And then he's also in the movie Navy SEALs, which I'm sure he would want me to not remind people that he's in.
Wow. Okay, cool. So Spider-Verse, that's the top one for you right now. For me, I would have to say something like John Wick was up there too for me. I don't know if you got to see that, but that's a cool action film.
Oh, the John Wicks are great. I respect Keanu Reeves. I have only
Keanu
seen
Reeves.
the first one. Yeah. This is my Baltimore accent coming out now. No.
Keanu Reeves. Yeah, exactly.
Keanu Reeves does a great job in John Wick, where he shoots a lot of people because they killed his puppy dog. No, yeah, John Wick. I have not seen past John Wick 1. I don't even think I've seen 2. It's great, and I love him. I totally support him. It's just one of those like I don't want to put it on. I don't know what it is. It's like when I come across it, I'm like, I'll watch that another time. Like I have a lot of problems now trying to select a movie because I'm trying not to rewatch things. I'm trying not to get into that rabbit hole where I just keep rewatching the same things over and over.
Yeah, like a little kid.
I just watched Blazing Saddles yet again last night, but
I see.
And I've rewatched 3 Spider-Man movies, the 2 Andrew Garfields and one of the Tom Hollands, in the past 2 days. So it's like, but I'm trying.
What? In 2 days?
2 days. 2 days. Yeah.
All right. Those are like 8-9 movies. Yeah, exactly. 2 hours each. That's like 16 hours. So half of your past 2 days.
And I've only watched 3. Amazing Spider-Man 1, Amazing Spider-Man 2, and then Far From Home. Those are the 3.
Okay, cool.
In the past 2 days I've watched. Like I have a lot of free time right now. I did not work for 3 months. Like it's beautiful. But yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, everywhere, everything, all at once with
another multiverse movie.
Well, yeah, that was a very well done multiverse movie with a bunch of great actors. So I really enjoyed that one as much as well. I gotta say, I didn't enjoy Mutant Mayhem, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem.
Oh, the new Turtle Ninjas. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I just found everything about it to be annoying. Like there's just the personality. Like I love the art that they're doing. I love the style. But when I'm just listening to everybody talking their gags, I'm like, oh, you just sound so annoying. I don't know, maybe I'm getting old. And I was just like, Zillennial Ninja Turtles. Yeah, I hate them. Like I don't know what it is about it. I just couldn't get behind it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, and also you got like Splinter is just an old Jewish man. Like he's supposed to be. What's going on here? Like what? He was a badass kung fu karate instructor that got turned into a rat. Like I'm okay with the rat ooze turns into Splinter thing. I'll allow that change in the canon to happen. But original from the comics was a karate instructor that got turned into a rat. And then you're going to make him just an old Jewish man that like, boys, make sure you wear your mittens if you're going to go outside and stay away from the humans.
Okay. Wow. So So let's talk about that. Let's talk about it for a second. What would you rather? Would you rather they never make a remake of a movie you like, or would you rather they stop making toy movies like Barbie movies and like Hot Wheels movies?
Oh, make reboots. I don't care. I don't
You
care
like
about
the reboots?
Yeah, I'm not gonna say I like them. I just don't. They don't ruin my childhood. Like just because they make another version of a movie doesn't mean the original version does no longer exist. Like it still exists. I can still go watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie with Corey Feldman voicing Donatello. I can still go watch it. It still exists. They're not erasing it from history. I just don't have to watch Mutant Mayhem again. If you want to like it, I'm very like chill when it comes to like subjective opinions about things, like subjective art forms. Like what you want to like, hate what you want to hate. I don't understand the hate for things. Like I dislike things and I try to come up with a reason why I dislike it, other than like they changed something from my childhood and I'm angry. They made a character a woman. How dare they? Like how sad is your life?
That doesn't piss you off,
like,
right?
Because they made Heimdall black. Oh
no! They got rid of Apu in The Simpsons.
Yeah, and you know what? But here's the thing: nobody noticed. They replaced Dr. Hibbert with Kevin Michael Richardson because it was previously voiced by a white man, and they're just secretly slipped in an amazingly talented person, African American voiceover artist named Michael Kevin Richardson, whose voice you know from a billion things, and is an amazing artist. And I luckily got to ask him. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the cartoon Animaniacs.
We're Animaniacs.
Yeah,
that one.
Pinky and the Brain.
Yeah. For sure, Pinky and the Brain. Yeah, totally.
I'm fortunate enough during the pandemic to have worked with the guy who voiced the character Pinky and his son, and I helped produce a live Zoom podcast for them during the pandemic. And what they did is they would bring on voice actors who worked in the gaming industry, and they talk about video games and voice acting, because that's what they do. Rob Paulson is a voiceover artist and the original voice of Raphael from the Ninja Turtles. See how it comes around like I'm a professional. Anyway,
that's
and then
a callback.
And they brought on Kevin Michael Richardson, and I got to ask Kevin, during the show, was like, how do you feel about taking over this iconic role as Dr. Hibbert? And he was like, this is like, The Simpsons is the reason I got into the business, like watching cartoons. So to take over an iconic role, I'm paraphrasing what he said, was like, for me, taking over such an iconic role and being able to be the one that steps into those shoes after all of that controversy is a huge momentous moment for him, as so he says. So it's like Harry Condabulo, who made the documentary about Apu and the whole thing with Hank Azaria. It's a great documentary talking about how torn Harry Condabulo is about the character of Apu. And I don't know if you guys, I would hope, be able to relate to him, because you are Middle Eastern ethnicity, and you grew up without here in the States without a lot of your own representation on TV. So here's Harry getting to see his own ethnicity represented on TV, but at the same time it's being portrayed and vilified by the white voiceover artists and actors about it, and how that's turmoil inside of him. It's like, hey, yes, we got an Indian character, but also at the same time he's doing a hacky Indian 7-Eleven racist accent, like characterization. So when Hank Azaria walked away from the role, which Hank himself was even like, hey, I get it, I'm on the same page as you, but what are we going to do about it now? Like, I'll give up the role. And he did. And that's why they got rid of it, because it's like, it created so much controversy. It's better to just write him out, unfortunately, than to recast him. Whereas with Dr. Hibbert, and I think there's another character, I think Carl, also they recast the voice of Carl in The Simpsons, where they can just, hey, nobody said anything about these two guys, so let's just do the right thing now while nobody's looking.
Oh, I see. That's a really cool idea. And I really like how like Pinky is really trying to take over the world. That sounds like something Pinky would totally do. Okay, sounds good to me. Okay, so what do you think about all this side? Do you think Apu needed to be taken over? Because for me, growing up in Lebanon, one of my favorite comics out there was Jeff Dunham, when he used to do the Ahmed the Dead Terrorist bit. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. And even though now I can see how insensitive that is, and how, you know, maybe, yeah, stereotypical and a bit racist it is for sure. But I don't know. I don't know why I loved it so much. Maybe because I feel like that was my representation right there, you know?
Yeah, and I
Even though
think
he came in a dead puppet terrorist. Yes, exactly.
in my opinion, it's I mean, we find this funny because like we're okay with like this kind of dark humor, me and you,
Hmm.
Ali, and I understand like where everyone is coming from, where they're saying like this is a bad representation of
Hmm.
Arabs and stuff. But it's a bad representation when people who watch it really take it to heart. That's like if you really look into it as something that is a true representation of Arabs, then yeah, it's probably sending the bad message. But if people are just a bit more aware and more understanding, they wouldn't take this as an actual representation of who it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and
They
I mean,
understand it's just a joke.
yeah,
It's like
it,
comedians.
that's a great point. Is the context is what's key.
Hmm.
Is it funny because it's relatable, or is it funny because we all agree that demeaning these people is what's humorous?
Hmm.
Uh, and that's
Yeah.
basically the definition of punching up and punching down. Like, are we having fun together as a group, or like, in my younger years, we told some of the worst, horrible black people jokes,
For
right?
sure.
And now me and friends can laugh at them because we laugh at the absurdity of how awful they are.
Right.
Whereas there's
Yeah.
people who laugh at them as like, yeah, that's funny because black people are stupid. Like, how do you get a one-armed black person out of a tree? You wave at them. It's funny because you're stupid. Like, and that's kind of the
Yeah.
problem, And of
Yeah.
course, I've heard that it's the same thing. Like every black joke I've ever heard is also the same. Every Polak joke, a Polish person joke I've ever heard, and I'm
Right,
sure
exactly.
like I've heard variations of the same dumb jokes, of racist jokes.
100%.
You plug and play whatever, uh, how do you make a Scottish man poor? High in his unemployment check and his
Yes.
work. It's like I've heard that about 5 different ethnicities of people. Like it,
Uh-huh.
they're all
But you don't believe them.
we're
Like that's the
all
most important part.
yeah, like the stereotypes exist for a reason. Is that reason is because we're humorously bringing it all together, or do they exist because we have to believe that a certain type of person is lesser than?
Hmm.
One of the things. So my day job, and I'll skip ahead to what was your best thing of 2023 is the new job I have, which is the reason why I have 3 months off in the winter. Is I'm a tour guide for Boston Duck Tours, which are these
Oh, amazing.
amphibious vehicles that drive around the city of Boston and then go into the Charles River and come back.
Wow.
Yeah, it's old World War II vehicles, or yeah, World War II vehicles that have been surplus, and a lot of cities have them. They had them here in Baltimore for the longest time. That's why I grew up knowing about them. So I'm this history tour guide narrator, and the company makes us all do it in character, which was the hokiest part of this whole thing for me, and why I avoided it for so long. But I embrace the characterization and whatnot because it eases people into a comic. Anyway, one of the
Hmm.
people that started me with this year, a young lady named Remy, her pitch for what her character was going to be was to be a character called Nadia Kennedy, not a
Mm.
Kennedy, where she's like this fallen, uh, ditzy socialite, Boston socialite, that is not from the Kennedy family, but is definitely a Kennedy. Like that's the
Mhm.
whole character. She's supposed to be like a ditzy Kennedy, failed social, like absolutely. Like, do you ever see the British show Ab Fab? Absolutely Fabulous.
Oh yeah, totally. Absolutely
When we
fabulous.
were
For
talking about
sure.
character, her character would be a Boston version of those people.
Hmm.
And
Like high end, posh, but also a bit dim witted
yeah, and trashy at the same time.
and trashy.
And it, to the trainer's credit, they rejected the idea.
Hmm.
And the reason being where that we all agreed that it was funny and there's a lot of comedy that can be drawn from it. Ultimately, they were more worried about guys, mostly men, like taking the characterization into the wrong and finding it funny for the wrong reasons. Finding is like, yeah, because women are dumb drunks, right? Yeah! Like from the back of the duck boat. And they don't want to have her, who, by the way, Remy is an amazing tour guide. They end up creating a character called Tessie Tutu, where she is a ballerina Red Sox player. And her tour's great. She learned 5 different how to speak in 5 different Asian languages when we drive through past Chinatown. So she can say hello in like 5 different Asian languages. She can say, but yeah, she's very, very smart. And to her credit, the character of Tessie Tutu is so much more enjoyable to be around than this other character. And it came down to really that they don't want guys, particularly, or anybody in general, to objectify her in a negative way because of this character that we all can enjoy. Think that ditzy drunk ditzy Kennedys, perfect Boston. But no, and that's I had to explain to her because she didn't quite understand it, why they rejected it and why they couldn't. It's like, it's not because you're going to go into a bad place with the comedy. They're worried about other people going to the bad place, and we don't want to have to feel that. Like, and also when you're a conventionally attractive 22-year-old woman stuck on a boat with 35 people and somebody gets ruly and out of control, things can go bad very quickly. So let's not give them fodder for the reason for their brains to go, oh, I could be unruly and touchy with you. Like,
oh yeah, that's messed up. Because people think that if you're just doing a joke, that's reason for harassment, right?
Yeah.
What kind of world do we live in, dude?
Yeah, women can
that's messed up
all the time, where it's like, hey, if I do jokes about being slutty, then everyone's gonna treat me like I'm a slut, which is unfair to them and anybody who has to deal. Like, I get annoyed when I do self-deprecating humor and then somebody thinks it's okay to just be a dick. It's like, all right, look, I'm being self-deprecating. It's like self-deprecating.
I see what you're saying.
Be like,
you can be self-deprecating. I can't call you an asshole. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I can make slutty jokes. Just don't call me a slut. I can call myself a slut.
Yes. Not even, like, don't treat me. If I make jokes about being a slut or being promiscuous, I shouldn't even say slut. But if I'm going to make jokes about being promiscuous, don't treat me as if you think it's okay that I'm promiscuous. And that's unfair.
It's true. It's true. It's very, very, very true. Then what else do you make jokes about?
By the way, what is there more about talking about the upcoming of feminism and comedy than 3 dudes on a podcast? We're gonna change this from A to the triple mansplain.
Triple mansplain comedy and podcasting. Oh wow, yeah, exactly. Wait a second. So you know everything about Boston, pretty much.
I know a lot. No, well, here's the thing.
What's like a funny thing about Boston? What's like a funny thing?
My favorite
thing.
Well, there's a lot of things that that is the history of Boston that I'm not allowed to say on tour. And guess what? You guys are again. This is exclusive for your podcast. The
Let's
things
do it.
I'm not allowed to say on tour include. I told you one of them earlier is the Boston or Massachusetts first legalized slavery, first to abolish it.
Right.
That I can say. But I have to tiptoe. All I'm allowed to say is that. That's all. And he's expounding more on that, and they're like, I had to toe a really close line with being inappropriate with a lot of things. And one of the things is, of course, we talked about movies. The movie The Departed, filmed in Boston. We go by the Hurley Building, which is where they filmed the movie The Departed. That features, that stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Matt Damon, and locally known racist Mark Wahlberg. Nope. You can't say that. Okay. All right. Fair enough. I can get away with saying this one. In the movie The Departed, we can see the exact set of steps that Leonardo DiCaprio runs down a flight of steps right on the outside of this Hurley Building. And do you know what Leonardo DiCaprio was running away from? A woman who turned 26.
Oh no, dude, it's so relatable. It's so true because he loves young girls that turn 18.
I get away with that joke for the sheer fact that my trainers dared me to say that because they're like, no one's gonna laugh at that. And then every time they do, I just turn to our cameras and I was like, hey everybody, by the way, my boss has said no one would laugh at that. Wave at them. Say hi, Plucky.
That's amazing. Wait a second. I need to remind you about Mark Wahlberg. So what did Mark Wahlberg do exactly that got him in trouble? I couldn't Wikipedia this, but you're the tour guide, so
yeah. So the big thing is that when he was younger, him and his brothers, growing up in South Boston, attacked I want to say Vietnamese I want to say it was Vietnamese man. If I'm incorrect in that, I apologize. But a man of Asian descent, and beat him to the point where he was blinded in one eye.
Oof.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
and that is a federal assault. And the reason why this all came out to light is because he wanted to have it expunged so he can get his name put on the ownership charter of Wahlburgers, his brother's burger joint, so he can make money. That happened about 10, no, a little more than, I want to say 12 years ago. It's weird that it's been that long now, but that all came out.
I was wondering what happened.
An apology. It's like, how come you didn't apologize for this 30 years ago when you blinded the man?
Yeah, that's horrible.
Apologize for is because you're like, oh, hey, this came out. Sorry, guys. Hey, I want to make burger money now.
Yeah.
But then
he has a lot of money.
A lot of stories of him and his brother just shouting. Again, this is all stuff that happened before he turned 18. So I mean, you can chalk it up to being young, or Boston boys will be Boston boys. Where they yelled racial slurs and tried to tip over a vehicle that contained a bunch. I think again, people of Asian descent. They were beating on it, breaking windows, trying to knock it over. And I'm probably exaggerating some of the details of that, but
wow.
Essentially, yeah. So they did a lot of, culturally racist, events and attacks to people of color.
That's messed up.
Yeah, and then I mean, you could also say he appropriated hip hop culture when he was marking about but you have to. I would argue in his defense that for him to appropriate hip hop culture, he would have had to been good at it. So
yeah, exactly.
Whoa.
Damn.
By the way, I should also not be throwing this much shade at Mark Wahlberg because he did pay me 3 months of my rent when I worked on the movie Spencer Confidential, and I did no work. So, I mean, to his credit, he does a lot when they film in New England. Like he pushes the film in New England. Pushes the film in Massachusetts, not just because of the tax credit, because he wants the actors there to get the money. He rather people in hometown make money than, and trust me, they're very generous with it. I worked 3 almost 16-hour days, sitting and holding, doing nothing, just getting paid. They're like, whatever, we have the budget, pay them the overtime. And he super nice to fans. He really is. I watched him personally. This is not secondhand. I watched him while filming, just walk over the crowds of people, autograph, shakes hands, talks to people. Peter Berg, who's a big time collaborator with Mark Wahlberg as a director, he works with him, and he's also very pro Boston, very pro getting people work. Super nice guy. So I really shouldn't say bad things about him, but I mean these are things that happened. So I'm
no, for sure.
Yeah, it's the fact.
You're a historian. Yeah, for sure. That's for sure.
And then my favorite Boston history thing that I'm not allowed to talk about, again, going back to movies, is have you guys ever seen the movie Glory?
No, I know of it.
Glory is the movie that Denzel Washington won his first Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor in. It stars Denzel Washington, Morgan Freeman, and Ferris Bueller. It is about the Massachusetts 54th Regiment, which is the very first all-black volunteer regiment to train in the North and fight against the South in the Civil War. And in Boston Common, they have a huge, beautiful free sculpture monument dedicated to the Massachusetts 54th. And it is literally, it's called the Robert Gould Shaw Massachusetts 54th Memorial. Robert Gould Shaw is the character that Matthew Broderick plays in the movie Glory. He was the leader of that regiment. And it is the most Boston thing ever to dedicate a monument to the very first black regiment to fight in the Civil War and name it after the white guy. You're also like, no, you can't say that either.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, exactly. See, these are the uncomfortable truths that they're still trying to story behind.
In my trainer's defense, the reason why I'm not allowed to say these things is not because they're inappropriate. They're like, Dennis, just stop trying to bum people out. I'm like, it's funny to me. It's like, yeah, but it's also like kind of a bummer.
Yeah. Jeez.
Your trainer seems like they can't handle the truth, man.
They laugh. They laugh at him and be like, just people are here for a good time. Stop trying to, let's not remind people that police often kill people of color. Like, let's not bring that up at all.
For sure.
I'm surprised I this one, that's a truthful one that I almost got hit for. I was stopped at a red light and I'm just doing normal history, talking about Paul Revere or whatever. Which, by the way, there's the last thing. I'm not allowed to refer to Paul Revere as the Elon Musk of the revolution. But anyway. Paul Revere something. A cop comes up and he bangs on the side of my duck boat. And he goes, "Hey, did you guys fix all the holes in these things yet?" And I look down. The only thing in this city that puts holes in anything is you, officer. Anyway, and then like turn hey,
damn.
you, come back here. Which I was.
That is exactly what shots fired is reference for, bro.
Yeah, shots fired. Yeah, exactly.
I was waiting to hear from my bosses about that one because we videotape everything because of like security, or not security, but like safety reasons. We have cameras all around the vehicle, looking the streets, looking inside, looking front, behind. Like we have a 360 camera. We can literally see a 360 view of the vehicle inside the vehicle from above. It's amazing technology that Boston Ductors has put in their vehicles over the years to make them as safe as they are.
You can see the vehicle of the vehicle. Yeah, definitely.
Wow. Amazing. I mean, that's horrifying. You know, I was in the movie Patriots Day. Oh, but if you look very, very closely, there's that scene where the bombs happen. You know, it's about the Boston Marathon bombs. And I was in the audience. So I went one day and I went out. They gave us Subway sandwiches. I took the tea. Yeah, exactly. I went all the way. And then, they had like a fake bomb go off. And we had to rehearse getting off and panicking. But then literally on the third time, they set off like a real explosion. And I was like, ah! Because it was a real reaction.
You got flashbacks of your home, bro.
Yes,
flashbacks
exactly.
of Lebanon.
Like, were we in Lebanon? No? I thought we were acting, dude.
I think the best thing about this whole role is that they finally cast a Middle Eastern person in a movie that didn't play the terrorist. Like, we are progressing.
Yeah, I'm surprised
exactly.
they did it, to be honest.
I was in the audience.
Ali, you were the suicide bomber.
It was a white guy. It was two white kids from Russia.
I think Ali's just too white to be casted as the Arab terrorist. That's why.
That's true. That's a good point.
The vaguely Soviet, whatever. Former Soviet bloc.
Yeah. So did you skip?
And that's what they were. Chechenian.
Oh,
yeah.
Did you skip over that in your tour?
I think chutney is a type of like soup. Like, we're gonna have chutney. Okay.
Hey, give me some of that onion soup, sweet onion. Let's do it.
Chutney is a jam. What soup?
Yeah.
It's
weird. I'm fat with an eating disorder, and I didn't know the word for a type of food. Like what?
But so wait, where exactly did that happen? The bomb.
Oh, right.
Was it by Kenmore?
The two bombs went off. They're right on Bolston Street. The first one is first one went off. They have memorials for glowing spirals at each of the locations. One of them is right at the finish line, which is right where the Boston Public Library is. It's right where the old and new building meets at the finish line. And then that was the second bomb that went off. The first one went up like a block up earlier, right across from like the Lenox Hotel near like the Dunkin' Donuts. I don't know. I'm
gotcha.
I go past it every day for work, and I'm sitting there. So I can't remember what's behind me, but I can remember seeing them every time, and I'm pretty sure there's a Dunkin' Donuts right there.
The way you said Lenox Hotel, if you say it again the same way and just do this, it'll be a perfect Trump impersonation. I don't know what.
Lenox Hotel.
You have to do that. Pull it out.
The Wizard of Oz living. I don't know why. I'm the Jewish. I'm not even. I'm sorry. Oh no.
I can't believe that happened. Yeah, that was really sad because I think a lot of people died that day.
I moved there in February of that year, and that happened April. So what's that? 2 months? April. The weird thing about that day is that the reason I moved to Boston is to write traffic reports for TV and radio. And we're listening to police standards all day. And earlier that day, the building across the street caught fire. So we're all outside looking at, fire trucks and ambulances across the street. Everyone was fine. And then later that day, we got the information from the police, and we're like, "What's going on? What's happening? Did you hear on the police scanner they said there was a bomb at the thing?"
Oof.
Yeah, it was very surreal. because we weren't there, but then we heard everything that was happening because we had police scanners. And there was a point where the police blocked off the scanners to private channels, and we had to literally request to them, hey, we are a news outlet. We need access to this information for our jobs and for your safety and for the safety of other people. So we need access to these private police channels. And we can't talk back. We're only listening, you know? And so I listened for all that week, 8+ hours a day, listened to everything the police talked about, searching for those two, running around. I remember listening to a police officer say, "We got him." And we're like, "What?" And on the radio, they're like, "You got what? Say on the radio, what do you have?" And then it was, again, another false. And it's like, it was crazy. And then to go home that night and then them catch them. And I was like, I missed it. I went home. Why can't you do between 9 and 5? Why can't you do your police in between 9 and 5? Successful police between 9 and 5. Like, I leave. You caught him at like 7:30. Why did you do that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's when the terrorists are like usually operational from 9 to 5. It's like, terrorists, please, could you just do your job between that time?
Next morning, I actually met the paramedics that worked on the two brothers. Because they just happened to be drinking at 8 a.m. the same as me. We just have to be all at the same bar at 8 a.m. having brunch and beers. There's a picture on my Instagram with them somewhere. I mean, obviously it's 11 years ago, so you have to go find it. But yeah, they were, you know, bless those guys' heart, because it really affected them. Like, just talking to them that morning. Where it's like, hey, we
the
have
medics,
this, like our job, the paramedics that found these two guys. Not like, oh, we were in the hospital. It was like, no, they're the ones that saved those one boy's life. You know, the other brother came to his injuries, but they found, if I remember correctly, I think they found them both in the boat together. They have a duty to save a life, but also at the same time, they're saving the life of a guy that killed 8 people, 9 counting the officer at MIT. Or like,
that's so sad.
Listen to them.
Yeah,
it's heavy, you know, and it's
for sure
even harder to listen to them talk about with the amount of drunken slurs they had, because they were hammered at 9 a.m.
Dude, I can't imagine what they were going through. Yeah, exactly. Wait, so what was the reason behind all that? Was it just because they were like angry, or like was it like a school shooter type situation, or was it like a religious
their motivations
thing?
Or... I honestly can't really remember what they're. I mean, they're Chechnyan, so it had something to do with that. They're Chechnyan terrorists.
Gotcha.
After the American infidels, I guess. Off the top of my head, I don't really remember their motivations, to be honest with you.
Wow. Okay, and you were on there on the scanners. You were trying to solve the case yourself, weren't you?
100%. I was thinking all kinds of stuff. I was like, hey, everybody, here's what's going on. Like, you go from that week. Oh boy, am I tweeting up a storm as a first point of news.
Oh my God. Wait, so if they
want to be Twitter famous, I needed to go viral back then, right? And I'll use my advantage if I had to.
At any cost. Wait, so if they told you the exact address of where the guys were, would you have went yourself with like a camera and try to get them, or what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been on the spot for.
This reminds me.
That wasn't my job at the
movie
time.
Nightcrawler.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't. I know the movie and I know the premise of it with Jake Gyllenhaal. I've never seen it, but in Baltimore,
you lived it, man. You didn't have to see it. You lived it.
Baltimore Sun had a crime blogger where his job was to listen to police scanners, go to places of shootings and murders, and get the information. Like, God bless Justin Fenton, who's a former Baltimore Sun reporter who did the crime blog. Like, he not only wrote about all 300+ murders every year during his time at the Baltimore Sun, but he tweeted about them, and he was on the streets doing the real hard journalism, talking to witnesses, talking to cops, getting the information, letting people know what was going on. And that's the city I come from. I was, I grew like my real professional career was a radio entertainer. Like, I worked in radio for a bunch of years, and I wanted to go to concerts and interview artists backstage. I didn't want to repeat things that I read in other interviews when I was talking about artists. I wanted to be able to like
For sure.
all the things that I've told you about are firsthand accounts. Like
Right.
So far throughout this whole thing,
Yeah.
I haven't talked to you about anything that I have no known connection. Like when I paraphrasing Kevin Michael Richardson, I didn't hear him say that on someone else's thing. He said that directly to me, you know, and that's, you know, and I will quote other people, but everything I talk about generally comes from something. And if I can give you a firsthand knowledge about it, that I will. And same thing about anything really, because that's just the kind of journalism that I was taught when I was younger. You know, that on-scene reporting, and I wanted to. The reason I have a podcast called "So What Do You Really Do," where I talk to artists and entertainers about their day jobs. Find them everywhere. Find it everywhere podcasts are bought. Is because I like to interview people. You know, that was the reason I got into radio, because that was the combination of my biggest loves was comedy, music, and interviews. I love behind the scenes stuff growing up. I love watching, you know, couch interviews on the Tonight Show and Letterman and Cohen, those things. I love listening to them talk to people, and I hated bad interviews. Local morning TV news do such bad interviews, and I hate them with such a passion.
Yes, I agree.
Even when I'm researching, like I've been fortunate enough to interview some pretty big name people on my podcast, Lewis Black, Jim Jeffries. I got to interview Dane Cook. Dane was like, we won't release this interview as a podcast, but I'll come back and do your podcast again, and I'll hold him to it. But it's like, that's what I do. Is I know I'm still waiting for that callback, Dane.
Come on, Dane.
Look, Dane, just let me release the original audio. Like this is it. He's like, this is a great interview. It's just not funny. I didn't realize like he feels like on a podcast he should be funny, where it's like, I don't want you to be funny, I want you to be real. Anyway, doesn't matter. He's a great guy. Nice. Anyway, I have the whole anyway, on audio. I listen to it.
I love Dane.
I
love Dane for sure. I would love to listen to that too.
But he
release the podcast.
Release the "So What Do You Really Do" cut, Dane. But yeah, it's so sometimes I'll go through other interviews they've done with people, and I just like, I hate hearing when somebody interviews a comedian. I hate hearing, "So how did you become a comedian? Why did you get into?"
Yeah, for sure.
It's like the most basic bitch answer out there, or question to ask somebody out there. It's like,
yeah, of course,
I agree.
And I try to avoid it. And if there's times where I need to ask it because of the context of the conversation, I try to at least make it better than like, how did you get into? Like, try to at least lead them there naturally through conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, because some people are shit at some people, like, you guys do this. I'm sure you figure out where you'll ask somebody a question, and it's like, one word answer. No expelling, no expanding. You're like,
yeah, that's true. I think I don't know why, but I feel like the best question to ask a comedian about how they got into comedy was like, what was the trauma that got you into this? what triggered all of this shit? What is wrong with you, basically?
The same that's the only question you can ask both a comedian and a superhero. Like, who died?
Who died?
Who attacked you at a young age and made you want to seek revenge on other people?
What hurts? Tell us.
If only more comedians. Well, no, I would actually like less comedians to be financially viable with their parents' money, unlike superheroes. Because let's be honest, Batman's not a superhero, right? Because he doesn't have superpowers. Because white privilege is not a superpower.
Wow. Taking shots at Batman.
I can't do it for you guys right now because I don't have it. I used to do a bit called "Who Said It, Batman or Osama Bin Laden?" I would read a quote two audiences and make them guess whether it was Batman or who said by either Batman or Osama Bin Laden, because Batman is not a hero. What does he do? He strikes fear into people to get them to do by his bidding, which is literally the definition of a terrorist.
Wait, do you have one? Do you have one in your memory or no?
I'll do. Actually, I think I might have him on a phone app. Hold on, let me see.
Let's do it. You can wrap it here.
Yeah, here it is. Who said it? Batman or all right? So let's and also by the way, this is a guy who just keeps renting small, flexible young boys. Like he just calls up the Gotham Orion and was like, "Hey, do you have any flexible white boys?" Yes, it is Bruce Wayne. Yep, same credit card as last time. No, that's not a quote, but so all right. Let's start off. Here we go. We'll start off with either. Those who want to solve our problems at the UN are hypocrites. That is clearly a quote from Osama Bin Laden, right?
Yeah.
Here's another one. If you tell them to fight, they'll fight, but they need to be inspired. Who said it? Osama Bin Laden or Batman?
I have a feeling Batman.
Ali?
Batman. No.
Batman?
I agree with my co-host.
Here's a Batman quote. Great job.
Okay.
Here's another one. They say that when you kill a man, you not only take away what he was, but all he will ever be. Osama Bin Laden or Batman?
I think Bin Laden.
Think Bin Laden?
I'll think Bin Laden too. I'll agree.
Nope, that's Batman.
I was thinking if it was a trick question or not.
Here, I'll give you one more.
Let's do it.
I cannot die. I feed on evil like yours. Batman or Osama Bin Laden?
That's got to be Batman.
I would say Osama.
All the quotes are Batman. I've never written down any Osama quotes.
That's good.
That's
good. We didn't quote him.
Quotes are Batman quotes.
We didn't quote him. Yeah, exactly. Not bad. Well.
And of course, the last quote that I say is very obviously. It's some days you just can't get rid of a bomb. So.
Oh my god, Batman! How violent! What do you think about that, Syed?
About the podcast or Batman?
Both.
Oh no, that's a Batman quote. It's from the Batman movie with Adam West.
Well, yeah, Batman definitely has his demons, man. Like he has some. He like exaggerated. He over exaggerated his trauma to another level. Like not like anything I've seen a comedian do. So I think
let me introduce you to a guy named Bill Cosby.
Fair, yeah, exactly. Jeez, I try to forget about him.
But yeah,
don't worry, that's exactly what he wanted his victims to do too. Hey, you'll have this drink and I'll help you not remember. Put him pop.
Forgot about that one, that's for sure. That's a podcast.
Well,
that is a podcast, man. Dennis, thank you so much for coming on to the show.
Thank you guys so much for having me. It was a good time. I'm glad we were able to get this all scheduled and worked out right. And I just feel like now I just did. No, why did I do that? Why? Like you guys weren't even noticing. I was just like, look, dude, it was cool it was cool being on your podcast.
We gotta put it on Reddit, man. Gotta put on Reddit that image of just Dennis doing that.
Yeah, that's the gift that's going to get people to watch this. Is just some fat Joey white boy on Ozempic going, that's what's going to bring everybody.
we gotta find a way to end this.
Thank you again, guys, for having me. Your audience can check out everything about me. You can see my podcast, or you can see and listen to my podcast called So What Do You Really Do? Available everywhere podcasts are parted, on the Big Comedy Network and on YouTube. You can also watch my now defunct and no longer producing new episode YouTube show called Word of the Day with Comedians, where we try to make you smarter by being funnier.
Couldn't have said it any better. Thank you guys for watching the podcast. We salute to cover the camera and peace.